Yeah, I felt like the guys handled the travel well. Going 2 days on the way out there, we had a good practice on the Tuesday morning before we left. Night in the hotel Tuesday night, halfway, and then take the rest of the trip the next day, and had a good walkthrough and meetings when we got to the hotel. I think the thing that stands out to me the most in the first 2 weeks is just the way that everybody's playing off of each other, whether we're talking O&D or the special teams being a part of it. We get stops on defense or turnovers on special teams, and offensively we're able to capitalize on a lot of those things where we're not coming up empty, and being able to use the momentum to build a multiple score lead in both games has obviously helped out. So, the energy on the sideline and the way the guys are playing and competing as one full group right now is very good. We had some adversity in the first half of the Bemidji game, handled it well in the second half. We didn't really have any adversity last week. Obviously, that is going to come this week with who we're playing. So what happens when we get into those situations? We still don't, know that fully yet. But the way that we are feeding off of each other right now is kind of the thing that stands out the most to us as a staff. Yeah, I think he's played well the first 2 weeks. Obviously, week one made a bunch of plays when things weren't there with his feet. Last week, didn't have to as much, but still managed everything well and was efficient when we threw it. So that part is good. I think from the coach's side of things and talking with him after this last one, there was a lot more that needed to be corrected after this game than there was the first one, regardless of the score. Nothing major, but just with what we're asking him to do, seeing things pre-snap, and then, obviously there's a couple things with the post-snap reads with, the RPO type things that could have taken advantage of or handed it off in certain situations when we didn't need to get as greedy. But he's handled everything well in the first 2 weeks, and but he's just like everybody else. We're every day trying to get him to that next step, and he's handling it like a vet right now, and needs to continue to do that. You coachable kid, like most of our guys are, and he wants to be good. So when we're trying to tell him things, and when to take advantage of throws in certain situations, when to hand it off, when to keep it yourself. He does not have all the answers yet. He hasn't played enough snaps to have all the answers yet. So there's still certain things where, we get into certain situations, whether it be conversion down situations or red zone, whatever, of, when to maybe take what they're giving you rather than getting greedy in certain situations. So he's been great with all of the, the coaching points. And again, the more he gets reps, obviously, the more that'll start showing up on Saturdays. I said it early in the year as well. I think anytime you have somebody coming back with as many reps that Ethan has and many situations he's been in, obviously having that security blanket is good. But, to be honest with you, over the first 2 weeks, I feel like he's spread the ball out to a whole bunch of guys. I think everybody that was on the trip last week at least touched the football except for one skill kid. He's got confidence in everybody out there, as he should. I feel like our skill room is pretty talented, so it doesn't matter who's in certain spots. Being able to spread the ball around and take advantage of what defense is giving you is a good thing. But when we get into it, when he needs to be bailed out or certain spot to look, maybe on a shot play, obviously having 10 over there is good for anybody. Yeah, I don't even think it was a rough start, to be honest, against Bemidji. I think they had two runs that they gashed us on with the Q runs, and but other than that, I felt like we contained them as well, forced them into having to throw it, and they didn't want to do that. Last week, anytime you can hold a team to 4 yards rushing, obviously that makes everything easier at that point. But to go on the road and do it against a team that had as much success as they did against us last year, to completely take that side of the football out of the equation was incredible. The special teams obviously played a part in it, but time of possession, we had 38 minutes to their 22, and a lot of that was 3 and out after 3 and out, and then turning them over. So defensively, we played really well. They get the late score at the end of the game. We had a kid, should have been tackled for a loss, and he kind of slides out of it and made a nice play, but they played as well as we can ask last week, and they're going to have to continue to do that. A lot. Blocked 2 punts, one of them for scoop and score. the wind, I don't know if you could tell in the game or radio or whatever, it had to have been gusting at like 40 miles an hour for most of the first three quarters. So, we mishandled a couple punts just because the ball was floating all over. But, when Jackson got his hands on it, he made some plays from that standpoint as well. And kick return and our coverage units were good. Avery did a nice job kicking it through the back of the end zone. We had the wind with us. So for the most part, our special teams was really good. At the same time, our field goal PAT unit, we're making some adjustments too. We got to make some corrections there from a protection standpoint. And the whole operation was just kind of a nightmare on Saturday or Thursday, which forced us into going for two when we probably didn't want to or need to. But so we'll get that stuff corrected. But to block two punts and get 6 points off of one of them, it's a good day for the special teams. Everything. I mean, it's the same thing we talk about every year with them. Mostly their same staff, even since Otto retired, and very well coached. They don't do anything that's too exotic on either side of the football, but they're very good at what they do, and they don't make mistakes. That's another thing that I think stands out from our standpoint in the first 2 weeks. 18 penalties in 2 games. You cannot do that kind of stuff and shoot yourself in the foot against a team like this, or they'll capitalize on those kind of things. So, we're going back on the road. Our guys are prepped for that and ready for that. It'll be a long trip. That is never an easy place to play. They're always good at their own place. So we're going to have our hands full for sure and going to have to play a clean game. But they're physical, big in the box on both sides, and really good tacklers. So we're going to have to earn everything we get and take care of the football. Obviously, be good with our eyes on the back end on the defensive side so they don't get any chunk plays from that standpoint, but they're good. We had a really good offseason. Our guys that were coming back off of last year's team did a really nice job with the leadership part in the locker room and making sure everybody understands how we practice in early camp. We did have a good fall camp. It seemed like it took forever playing a week 0 game, but the energy and the way we went about our practice was very good. I don't know that we knew anything coming out of camp because of all the new faces that were playing in big spots. So we kind of figured that out on the fly. But, the right guys were speaking up at the right time and, helping out the young guys that were going to be in certain spots and whatnot. So I think it falls all back onto our leadership in our locker room and our guys are confident, believe in what we're doing here. And, I think anytime you get the mindset in the right place, obviously the what happens on the field is a little bit easier at that part. All of our captains were selected by the players. That's a player voted on thing. So, for all 4 of them, how they go about their business every single day, and that's not just in the weight room or on the field. All of them really good academically, what they do in the community, and I think that it was, that we had probably 4 or 5 other guys that received quite a few votes, but those guys were head and shoulders above everybody else. And I just think it's constantly doing what you're supposed to when you're supposed to do it. And, they get recognized for that. So he had an incredible day that day. So I remember everything. We scored in a 2-minute drill to beat him. Otherwise, he basically beat us by himself that day. But he's a different dude. Obviously went and functioned in the SEC for 2 years, and now he's on a 53-man roster making plays on Sunday. So, when you're 6'4" and run a 4.5 and athletic, that helps everything. But all of our guys remember him that were here at that time, and it's a cool thing to see. Obviously, we'd love to see those kind of bodies coming from, still being at Hillsdale, getting to that spot or wherever else in our league rather than having to transfer out with the portal options now. But, yeah, he's pretty talented.